All right, boys, here we are. Sunday football, week 11. We just finished up with Thursday football, Bengals Ravens.
Let's go.
AFC North matchup on Sunday, first game of the week,
Let's
first game
go.
of Sunday. Another AFC North matchup. The other teams,
Let's
six
go.
and three, battle of 6-3 teams here. Steelers at the Browns. Cleveland's a 1-point favorite here at home. Looking at last week, Pittsburgh's defense continues to win games for them. Interception there and goal line at the end of the game for them to win it over Green Bay, 23-19. Cleveland got a big upset win over their arrival there in Baltimore, 33-31. But obviously, where there's some really tough defenses here, there's some QB issues going on. There's wide receiver issues going on. How do you guys think this one plays out?
Well, looking at the matchup earlier in the week, like Monday, I was like, man, it's gonna be, one of those black and blue, grimy, two defenses going at it. And then you get the, Deshaun Watson news and that drops and you're like, oh wow, this thing just, has turned into just traveling in a mud pit type of situation. So I had the Browns earlier in the week. I think I'm gonna stay Browns because I feel like PJ with his couple of starts, he's capable. He had a couple of starts last year for the Panthers, kept them in that divisional race as well. As long as he's not asked to do too much, and I think the Browns are going to be able to provide him with that because they've been running the ball so well. Pittsburgh's defense, as we know, no slouches on the other side of the ball, but still not impressed with their offense. Although I do like what Najee Harris has been able to do here the past couple of games. I think he's on a 2 or 3 game touchdown run right now. And over the last 2 games in particular, they're finally getting him the rock. 16 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown is what he's averaging, 4.7 yards per carry. So I think that can help the Steelers move the ball, but I think I'm going to stick with the home team. I'm going to stick with the dog pound. I'm going to take the Browns. I don't like the points. And that over under at 37, that's a tough one for me to go either way. I mean, obviously, looking at this game, I'd probably lean under. How about you, Ib?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Jeez Louise. What are we doing here, huh? Browns taking the points. All right, but I don't like that 32-5. I'm taking the under on that because I don't know about betting on this one, but if I had to, because we're doing it, I'm taking the Browns, giving the one. Even though it's really wishy-washy here, the quarterback going down's tough. Browns play incredible. They have an incredible defense. They're playing well. That quarterback position really scares me, though. What can they get themselves out of if they get themselves potentially in a hole? How are they going to get themselves out of that? What's the run game going to look like against this Pittsburgh defense? I'm just taking the Cleveland Browns, giving up the 1.5. How about you, Braid?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I like Cleveland as well here. Despite what Pittsburgh's defense has, done for them and winning you can arguably say that they've won 6 games because of this defense.
Yeah.
And then you got the issues with George Pickens coming on and they're supposedly benching the guy.
Yep. Leading
To
receiver.
try to take away some of the drama and stuff. But with that being said, just looking at the defensive side with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've given up almost 1,200 yards rushing so far, and that's the bread and butter of Cleveland. You saw what Cleveland did versus Baltimore. Just their committee of running backs, the tough O line that they have. They're going to find a way to run the ball, and they're going to commit to it. So I like Cleveland here running the ball. It'll be, I think, again, low scoring. It'll be a lot of chewing the clock up on both sides. But I'm going to go Cleveland Browns here with their run game.
A lot of chewing the field up, period, I think, between these two teams.
Little fantasy, just stabbing. I like Njoku here in this one. The tight end is a quarterback's best friend, especially when it's a quarterback that is potentially going to be in damn near a pickle on every snap. So I would expect him to check down early and often. I'm not saying that he's not going to go on the perimeter. I'm not saying that there's not receivers who are going to catch some balls, maybe even a TD on the outside. Not saying that. But, the fact that he is second on the list for them in receiving, I think speaks incredible numbers to not only him being an athlete and a hell of a tight end on this team for quite some time now, 4 or 5 seasons. But, he definitely could end up being a safety blanket to bail his quarterback out and help PJ get the dub.
I like that a lot. And just only thing I got to add on this is the George Pickens thing. We just did we had talked previously about the Buffalo Bills and that whole situation, and obviously it was kind of tied in with the benching as well. That's the type of situation that I was kind of referring to where, obviously he's your stud wide receiver, Pickens, young kid. But you're setting an example that this kind of actions and stuff isn't going to be tolerated. Like you fall in line, and no matter how important you are to our team, you're not above the team. The coach is not going to take the back seat to whatever you want to do, whatever kind of shenanigans is going on. So I respect Tomlin for making the decision to do what he feels is best. And I think it just shows, again, the leadership from team to team. And again, why Pittsburgh is being successful with a lot less than what the Buffalo Bills have been so far this year.
Well said.
Good take. I said my only fantasy pick would be Jerome Ford. He had 100 yards last week versus Baltimore. I could see him getting, near that plus a couple touchdowns this time.
Kid's been huge.
That's about one of the few ways you can move the ball on the Steelers team, and he stepped right up and filled the role of Nick Chubb. Sorry, lost it there for a second, but yeah, he's filled in very nicely for them.
Yeah, I like both of those picks.
Hats off to Stefanski for not missing a beat with that.
No doubt.
But ready for the next game?
Yes, sir. Texters best for Chinchilla.
There you go.
Interesting matchup. You got the Arizona Cardinals 2-8 going into the Houston Texans 5-4. Texans are a 5-point favorite here. Both teams coming off of a win. Arizona, they finally get Kyler Murray back, and they get a win. They get pretty impressive victory over Atlanta 25-23. Houston, their second big win in a row here. They beat Cincinnati this week, 30-27. Who here continues the hot streak?
Well, we definitely couldn't have said this last year, but this year, this should be a pretty fun game. Watch
for sure.
You got Kyler. He had the late game drama. Played a really good first game back, and then of course, CJ Stroud on the other side has been lighting it up all season. I lean Texans for the win. That's what I'll take officially, on paper. But I feel like the Cards cover. I feel like I said it a little bit last week with Kyler coming back. I think they're going to play hard, and now you have a little bit more dynamic situation. Quarterback, although Joshua Dobbs played hands down great football, but Kyler adds a little bit different dimension to it. And plus, they want to see what they got on the. I think they're gonna leave it all out on the field every game this year. The Cardinals just think that they probably come up a little short, but I think this is a real pick'em game when it really comes down to it. Just because the Texans they're learning how to win still. They're doing it, and that was just an awesome bounce forward performance to go into Cincinnati and take that from the Bengals last week. But they're the mood's kind of changing. They were the overlooked underdogs, and now they've got people's attention. Hey, this team's legitimately good. So we'll see how they kind of handle this new, surrounding. But I'm gonna go Texans. I think this game goes over. I think both teams get into the 20s on this one. I don't trust either defense, and I think there's a lot of explosive weapons on both sides. I like the over a lot on this game. But I'll go Texans. How about you, Ed?
I do as well. I'm right there on the same seat you're on. I'm sitting on your lap. I like the Texans to win this game, but I think the Cards cover. And I think if you're a gambling man, I think that because of how dynamic Kyler Murray is, I think you're very well right. I think there's going to be a lot of emotions in this game. Arizona's not won a game on the road yet. I mean, how long do you think that could be kept up and they just completely can't win a road game? Kyler is just so dynamic as a quarterback. You have to ask yourself that, the competitive nature of Kyler bringing that back into the offense. Not that Dobbs didn't do an absolute incredible job at the helm over there for Arizona, getting traded over to the Minnesota Vikings to then go out and pull out a dub over there. But to just continue on what he was trying to build with that team, I would put the money and the points and all that on the over, and Arizona taking the 5. But I think outright the Texans win this game. How about you, Brent?
Fair. I like your guys' takes, but I'll agree with you guys that I think Houston Texans win this one. But I'm looking at Arizona with Kyler coming in. It was his first game. You weren't sure what you were going to get, so he gets to be a little bit of surprise. I look at that similar to like the rookie filling in for the injured vet. You weren't sure what's going to happen. He looks really good. Now we get game film on you. Now we can prepare for you, and we can make mismatch nightmares for you and play against your strengths. So I can see Houston Texans here winning heavily. Just because they're on a hot streak. They know how to play these teams that they should be losing to, or that may not even be competitive against, and they're winning. Like Cincinnati beat them. Tampa kind of embarrassed them there in the second half. Good Tampa should be a good defense, and they completely ate them up. So I can see them eating up against this Cardinals defense and giving Kyler Murray a hard time. So I like the Houston Texans and probably over the points.
I mean, I could too.
That's a fantastic take. And I think it just speaks volumes to what DeMeco Ryans has done in his first season as a head coach and his staff, because you highlighted they've been prepared just about every week. Like nothing's catching them by surprise. And even when they've lost, they've still been game. They're not getting blown out of the water at any point in time. So, yeah, that's excellent points.
Yeah, I mean, it just, Go ahead, Bert.
I was gonna say my only little worry. I know football's any given Sunday, but you look back 5-6 weeks ago, Houston did lose to Atlanta 19-21, who Arizona just beat last week. But again, every given Sunday. But this is you can compare teams that they faced each other against. Arizona won that game, but again, to me, that comes into the surprise that Kyler Murray added, and now I think there's no surprise, so Houston can be prepared.
Absolute, incredibly tough fucking game to call here, folks. Why? Because when you take a gander at the fucking numbers here, Houston's scoring 24.1 points a game, scoring 2.4 touchdowns a game. I mean, Arizona's 1.8. I mean, that's not enough to beat anybody, right? I mean, they're only scoring 17.66 a game. I mean, right there, put the money on Arizona, close the book, call it a fucking day, right? Yeah, but the thing is now you have Kyler Murray coming back, which is a dynamic player. But Brady's 100 million% right. What are we going to get in this Kyler Murray, which makes this whole thing even that more difficult to do? It's like, and then on top of it, it's like, Arizona couldn't keep this trend up. I mean, they're gonna win on the road eventually. They're gonna win a game. Why couldn't it be against a rookie quarterback? But I mean, and then you flip the coin. This rookie quarterback's not playing like a fucking rookie at all. He's playing like a vet, a year 5 guy into a set. I mean, the guy's playing incredible over there, C.J. Stroud for the Houston Texans, but. We gotta relax a little bit here, folks. Pump the brakes. Turn's coming up here on Sunday. Pump the brakes. I'm just gonna relax here and stick into my guns.
Let's turn the page.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Well, this next game, I'm sure the Texans, if they win their game, they're gonna want the one of these teams here, the Jaguars, to lose. But another AFC South matchup. You got the Tennessee Titans, 3-6. Going into the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 6-3. Jacksonville's a full touchdown, 7-point favorite here. You're looking at last week, week 10. Tennessee struggled versus the defensive pressure that Tampa brought on Will Levis, so they lost that one 6-20. Jacksonville got beat up by San Francisco coming off their bye, trying to prove a point that they're not, that the skid is over. They're not that bad. So they got beat up only scored 3 points to San Francisco's 34. Who bounces back here? Jacksonville bounce back, or do you think Tennessee Titans bounce back?
I feel good about taking the Titans with the points. I think the Titans upset this one and get a dub. The Jags aren't playing very good ball here for the last almost month of the season. and offensively has really been a lot of their problems. Calvin Ridley has not been involved very much here lately. Um, and they haven't been the explosive offense really all season that everybody kind of thought they would be. Now, Travis Etienne, he's been crushing it, but even he struggled last week against 49ers defense. Obviously, Titans not the same caliber team as the Niners are, but this is a divisional game. And we always highlight these because it's always, you kind of throw out some of the statistics when it comes to these type of matchups. Um, and I think the Titans, they're playing for pride. They got the youngster in Levis. They're kind of just letting it all hang out. You've seen Hopkins' numbers, both targets and receiving yards start to incline since he's been in the game. And they got a nice little 1-2 punch there with Derrick Henry and Spears. So I like the Titans here, definitely with the points. I think this gets over the total of 40. And I think I'm just going to go with the Titans on the upset until I see the Jags play better football. How about you, Ed?
Crazy. It's the second game so far out of the 3 games that we've done on this Sunday that the defenses on both teams are better than the opposing offenses that these defenses shall be going up against. We had that in the Pittsburgh Steelers-Cleveland Browns game, and we're having this in another divisional matchup, which is another very important one, I would argue. You have the Titans and you have the Jaguars, which the Titans offense is not as good as Jaguars defense, and Jaguars defense is better than Titans offense. So very interesting here. But with all of those incredible things being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Jags here. I don't know about these points. I don't really like any of it. I don't know. I'm definitely not knocking 7 points right off of Jacksonville off rip. -7. That's crazy, especially up against the Titans. I'm not taking this. I'm taking the Jags to win outright. Jags are gonna win. I got the under here, but I would take the Texans with the fucking getting 7. I don't know. I don't even like it. I don't. Yeah. How about you, Braid? I'm taking the Jaguars outright.
Taking the Jags outright. A little iffy on the points. I understand.
A lot of
it's
iffy.
A tough one to call. It's we say it every time. Every divisional matchup is probably the hardest matchup that you'll pick. When you comes to betting, is the hardest one to pick on because there's going to be an upset. 5 out of 10 times. It's hard. It's impossible to predict accurately. Well, so but for me, I like the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I look at this game similar to when Jacksonville faced Pittsburgh Steelers. You got the young quarterback, you got the tough defense, but at the end of the day, Jaguars know how to get after the quarterback. They actually ended up injuring Kenny Pickett that day, and Mitchell Trubisky had to fill in. So they know how to get after the quarterback if they need to. So I like Jacksonville going here. You saw the recipe to get after him this for when they face Tampa Bay. So Jacksonville just needs to do a rinse and repeat here. They don't need to be fancy. Just take the playbook of Tampa Bay Buccaneers, use it again, and then they get to play their offense. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars here getting after him. Will Levis. Gosh, I don't know why that name escaped me in my conversation there.
I think straight pick. I'm gonna switch over back to the Jags, but I definitely like the Titans to keep this within the point spread. So officially on that. And to your credit, Will Levis, Pittsburgh, and then the Bucks last week. That dude's jersey has been beat up. He has been taking some licks. So hats off to him for bouncing up and going through this because he's played 2 good games, not stellar games, but as a rookie and getting hit as much as he's gotten hit, and that's not from scrambling. Kid's shown me some severe toughness so far, and I like seeing him back there more than Tannehill. Just personally, I've seen enough of Tannehill. I know what I get out of Tannehill, so I feel like Vrabel again made the right call and going with this kid.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. Just you got to see what you got because you waited all year until like the final. They gave the other guy 2 games last year when they pulled Tannehill, and then. Yeah, Malik Willis. They gave him like 2 games, and then put Tannehill back in, and you're like, all right, you don't even know if he's good or not. You didn't even attempt. And so at
Exactly.
least now they're like, all right, we're not going to waste another second round pick. Let's see if Will Levis is good.
I told him to throw the ball, and he didn't. He ran.
I remember that. Yeah. Beat it.
So mad. Like, of all the
Fair,
shit to
fair.
be mad about, that's what the fuck you
All
were
right,
mad
though.
about.
Next game. Here we are. You got the Las Vegas Raiders 5-5 going to the Miami Dolphins, who are 6-3. Miami Dolphins with the biggest spread of the week at minus 13.5 here. You look at last week, Vegas Monday Night Football got a nice victory over the Jets to give them momentum and some happiness. You saw Devontae Adams, his face. He's ecstatic right now. They won that game 16-12. Miami had a bye last week, so the week before that they struggled versus KC. They lost that one 14-21. High-powered offense went down a little bit, but they had, I think Waddle was out that game or was very limited. But coming off the bye, you might be able to see him come back healthier. I do know he's still questionable, but that's something that would help this offense tremendously. How do you think they fare against Las Vegas with their kind of new regime? You think they can upset Miami here?
Dolphins, one of the best covering teams in the NFL so far, as the spread goes, and they've faced some pretty big spreads so far this year. Dolphins at home, averaging 43 points per game. Now, obviously, some of that's inflated from the Big 70 burger they got dropped against Denver. But if you throw that one out the window, the other 3 games, they're still averaging over 31 points at home. That's kind of like why we highlighted home field advantage for the Dolphins would be a major bonus going into the playoffs. I think the Dolphins cover this. I don't see why they don't get into the 30s again, maybe even the 40s. I think the Raiders are going to be able to score some points. They're definitely playing better ball, but this Dolphins at home, I definitely like the over. I feel like the Dolphins end up covering that 12 as well. And I think the good times kind of come to a little bit of a halt for the Raiders. I come down to earth on this one. How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, only because of that Jets offense was anemic, 12 points. Yeah, I don't like 13-5. I don't like that. I got from ESPN 13-5 I got. But either way, 13-5, 12, 12-5. No, I don't like it. But I do like Miami just winning this one here and keeping it 5-0 at home. And the Raiders 1-5 on the road. Yeah, I don't know that the emotion will be able to rise up enough and rise the roster up enough for the Vegas Raiders to win this one. I do agree with you, Charlie. Well said. I do think they will score points here. They're getting A-Chain back, so I'm thinking potentially this could end up being a decent game for the Dolphins points wise, but I just don't think that they're going to beat them that bad, double digits. I don't think so. How about you, Braid? Miami, I'm taking outright.
Taking Miami. I like Miami as well. They've shown that when it comes to teams that they should beat, they dominate them. And you look at the Las Vegas Raiders and what they've given up right now. They've given up the second most amount of rushing yards in the league right now at 1,350. So you let Mostert and Achane running the ball, it'll be easy work for Tua and those wide receivers. So I like Miami. I probably like the points too, like Charlie said. The offense can be very high powered, and it's a lot for the Raiders to keep up with.
It definitely is.
Lots of
But
lots of good stuff from Aiden O'Connell. Taking over as well. It's another young quarterback taking over. I liked him in the draft process, and he's got the physicals, and I feel like he's got the upstairs long and possibly be starting the Raiders next year.
And just because A-Chain's coming back, I mean, he will be put in the fold, but I think that if
Totally.
you got your handcuff, you got A-Chain, you got Mostert in this game, I think you start Mostert over A-Chain. I think he's still going to get a bulk of the carries. I think Raheem Mostert ends up getting potentially double-digit carries and a touchdown in this one here.
Yeah,
No,
the Miami
no,
backfield it's about to get mixed up because you got Wilson. I think this is his second game back from the injury too. So his three-headed monster now might dip some people's fantasy production when it
But
comes to that
but I
backfield.
think this is the last week for Raheem Mostert to be, as long as A-Chain stays healthy and moving forward. That's why I don't think you rush him back. You get him
I agree.
acclimated, you give him a couple touches here, there, and everywhere, sprinkle. Let me get some spranks, some jimmies, all in this one here, but not a lot, not double digits carries. I'd be surprised if he had 8. You know,
Yeah.
think you just sprinkle
I'd
him
be
in. Raheem Mostert's gonna get the bulk.
All right. Miami across the board. Anything else to add here for this one? All
Nope.
right, moving on. Dallas Cowboys 6-3, going into Carolina Panthers 1-8. Dallas is a 10.5 point favorite, so spread's even smaller than Miami over Raiders. But week 10, you look at what happened. Dallas beat up on injured New York Giants. They beat them 49-17. Carolina had a chance versus Chicago, but just couldn't quite capture it there on Thursday Night Football. They lost that one 13-16. You think Cowboys do what they've done with previous teams that they should be beating? They're another team like Miami where it's a team that they should beat. They tend to dominate and score a lot of points. Do you think that's how it is and they cover, or Panthers stand a strong chance here?
This feels like a tricky game. On paper, Dallas defense should dominate the Panthers. This should be a pretty easy win for the Cowboys. The way Dak Prescott's been playing, the way he's distributing the ball, finally to all the way. You've seen Brandon Cooks, huge game last week, 173 yards receiving. The tight end Ferguson has been steady Eddie all year for them. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb has been a beast. And they started a little bit different combo with the Dowdle kid and playing him off of Pollard, trying to maybe juice Pollard up a little bit and kind of give him more of a role that he was more accustomed to last season with Zeke. So the Cowboys offense is again 10.5, a lot of points to drop, especially on the road. I definitely like Cowboys to win. 42. I kind of like the under. I kind of like it like 24-17 or 14. Dallas winning the game for some reason. This is a tough read. Really like this game too much, but definitely Cowboys win. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would feel more comfortable about diving into you having it that low if the defense was a lot more healthy for them.
Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's a home game for Carolina, but I don't think that this is going to play a factor. I do believe they'll keep it under 42, so I'm going to take the under, and I do think that the boys will cover the points, and I'm taking the under. I just don't know what we're going to get out of that offense. I don't know how many points that the Panthers will score. But I do think Dallas is going to chip them up for sure. I think they're just going to keep things rolling. Just another day at the office here. Just going to continue on. They're playing another Giants team. So, I expect them to put up at least a decent amount. You know what I mean? But to be fair, I mean, honestly, I think that the Panthers defense is a lot better than the Giants. So that's why I think it'll be under the 40. I think they're not going to put 40 up this game. They'll keep it under because, the defense is still good and they have depth on that roster. I just don't think we're going to get the 7th ranked defense of the Panthers coming into this one. My personal opinion. How about you, Brent?
I don't know. I feel like you guys are playing it too safe. I think Dallas crushes the Panthers here. I'm sorry. Panthers,
I still got the
they've shown
Cardinals game in my mind, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we thought they were
That's
going to
true.
crush them there, too.
It's true. If you take that one game out, you look at the other teams that they should have beaten. Giants, they put up 40 and 49. The Jets, they put up 30. The Patriots, they put up 38. Chargers, they put up 20. Rams, they put up 43. They can put up 43 alone and take the over themselves. So
You're right.
I like Dallas covering. I like Dallas going I like the game going on the over because I only need the Panthers to give me maybe 3 to 10 points, and then it's going to be on the over side. So I like Dallas here with the points and the over.
I like
They're
your
just
passion.
and it's not even like I like the Cowboys team, but when it comes to for most, excluding the Arizona Cardinals game, when it comes to the teams that they should be beating, they're dominating them.
Absolutely, you're correct. I am a little bit sketchy by into the Cowboys at this point. I want to see them keep it going type of situation. I don't
Fair.
think they're in danger in this game, but I'm hesitant on 10 in the hook because I feel like that's coverable.
Fair. All right, ready to move on. You got a NFC North matchup: Chicago Bears 3-7 going into the Detroit Lions, who are 7-2. Detroit 8-point favorite here. Last week, both teams coming off of victories. Chicago won over Carolina, we just mentioned. They won that on Thursday Night Football. They won that 16-13. Detroit won a shootout with the Los Angeles Chargers, 41-38. They were one of the 5 or 6 teams that had a last-second field goal for the win. But they won that game, and they won that shootout. Big scoring, high scoring. How do you think this one plays out? You think Bears can keep it low and contain the Lions, or Lions run away with it?
Divisional game. I don't like the double digit, and I like the over. I think both teams are gonna score. Justin Fields will be back for this one, first game back though. But the Bears are 2-2 in their last 4 games. Lions, and the Lions, they were good last year, good this year. So divisional game, one of those losses by 1 point last year as well. So I like the Bears with points. I think this is kind of upset alert for the Lions because this could be kind of a look ahead game, even though it is a divisional matchup. The Lions should be feeling good, rightfully so, bouncing back after that ugly Ravens loss, and they've handled business in a great way over the past couple of weeks. I gotta say, probably the Lions win this, but I don't love it. Definitely give me the Bears with the points. They played much better on defense over the past couple of weeks, and offensively, even backup quarterback, they've been converting in the red zone. I like whenever I'm looking at a possible upset type of situation, teams that are cashing in, and Fields brings a different element. It wasn't like his knee or his, there's talking about his thumb. So he's had 3 weeks off now. They feel good enough about putting him back in there. So, yeah, I like the Bears with the points. I guess I'll go ahead and go Lions. I won't go outright upset, but I think this is a game that's an upset alert. I would not be surprised we turn on the TV at the end of Sunday and the Bears clip the Lions just because, those unseen factors. How
No
about
doubt.
you, Ed?
No doubt. I'm taking Lions, giving up the points, and I'll even take the over here.
Yeah,
I think fantasy, you got David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is going to score some touchdowns here. This is definitely a game where you want to start Montgomery if you have him. Definitely plug him in. Yeah, I think that, when you take a look at the schedule here, the Lions are dogging everybody at home that they're supposed to dog. The only team they didn't beat was Seattle here, 37-31 in overtime. Montgomery led that game in rushing. So I don't, Seattle was playing terrible in the beginning of the season too. So it was tough. It was a tough call to make here. But yeah, I'm definitely taking the Lions at home because they only got 1 loss at home, and they're at home beating the people that they should beat. So I'm taking everything here with the Lions, the points, and the over. How about you, Brim?
Yeah, I got to ride Lions as well. I think they're too high powered on offense. They're a more complete team and ready. I am hesitant to take the 8-point favorites here, but I look at this, the strength of both teams. Both teams need the run game to rely on, and both teams' defenses are very good against the run. The Detroit Lions are giving up the second least amount of yards at just over 700, but Chicago's right there behind them. I think just a couple teams behind with like 750. So like it's not easy to run on either of these teams. So that'll be an interesting matchup on who kind of sticks to it and wants to still run a balanced offense when it comes down to it and how the score plays early on. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the reliable passing game that I know can work on just about any team, and that's the Detroit Lions. Chicago Bears have given up the third most amount of yards passing right now, so you gotta put the trust in Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta as well. So I like Detroit Lions here. I think me talking about it, I'd probably go with the Detroit Lions with the points.
Agreed.
Anything else?
No.
Yeah, Montgomery and Laporta is definitely a go here.
I think you start all your fantasy relevant pieces in this one. You're talking about DJ Moore, Gibbs.
I like the wide receivers.
Absolute beast.
I'm hesitant on the running backs based on what I said. Maybe they get down to a goal line situation, they'll score, but I don't see a lot of yards for the running backs here. Unless for some reason someone just starts, breaking off big runs. But we'll see. It'll be a tough matchup, divisional. We say it every time. But next game, here we are. Los Angeles Chargers, 4-5, going into the Green Bay Packers, who are 3-6. Los Angeles is a 3-point favorite here. Last week, Los Angeles Chargers, we just touched on it, lost the shootout to Detroit, 38-41. And Green Bay just couldn't quite finish the job versus Pitt's defense, so they lost that one 19-23. Who bounces back from their loss? You think Chargers offensively can continue, or Green Bay steps up?
Two teams for me that I guess not surprisingly have been disappointing, but I'm disappointed in. Don't feel like I'm still getting a team. And the Packers, I thought, were going to be a little bit more game in. This is a really tough call here. I got Packers, but I definitely like them with the points. I think this is a field goal game just because of the way these two teams have been playing and the fact that it's in Green Bay and not over in Los Angeles. Playing in Green Bay tends to feel like it slows those faster teams down a little bit. So I think the Packers can close. I think they can sneak away with the win. 44, I kind of lean the over on this one because I think both teams can get into the 20s. Maybe not high 20s. We're going to see some points. Jordan Love has gotten back to spreading the ball around and throwing the ball a lot. Sometimes not so successful, but they're attempting to do it. And the Chargers are very capable of putting up at least 20 points. So I like the over a lot. I think it's a field goal game. It could go either way, and I'll go ahead and take the Packers out.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick, Eddie. Sorry, since Charlie just said he wants the over, does it change your mind on taking the over if I say it's going to be 48 degrees and rainy, so ugly, cold, and wet?
It makes me feel better about taking the Packers. Definitely taking the Packers with the 3. Yes and no, and that was part of my argument. But I still feel like 20 points for each team puts me right there on the cusp of the over. I'd kind of rather play over than be sweating the under if I played it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm liking Chargers here. I'm liking Chargers on the over. The thing is like I don't have much faith in Love. And that Chargers defense is gonna let shit go. They're just gonna let it go. You know what I mean? It's a fucking bag in the wind, dude. They're gonna let it go. So Green Bay is gonna score some points, and potentially, the defense of Green Bay could just absolutely stifle the Chargers. And the one thing that I'm worried about here is if Keenan Allen isn't a go. If Keenan Allen isn't a go, then I really believe that this game could be low scoring and could end up being potentially on the under at that point, because I think that's how important Keenan Allen is, whether I think they should have re-signed him for another season or not. I think he's that important, and I think when he is healthy and he's out there for that particular offense, he is dynamic for them. And it'd be a huge blow for that offense if he couldn't go in this game. And Eckler's healthy. He's not even on the list right now. So with Eckler being healthy, I think that now you have that dynamic ability to either run it or pass it. I'm just worried about the consistency of the catches now that Keenan is potentially not even going to play. I mean, it's definitely up in the air. It literally says hazy from the one I'm reading. But, that's what worries me. But I got to go QB here. I got to go Herbert because he's a savage, and he's about the only positive thing on that entire team besides Eckler. So your Chargers for me. I'll let him go. I'll let him give the 3 up, and I think the over, simply because this could end up being somewhat of a decent shootout, even though it's cold out, because of the fact that this defense does let it up. And Herbert's going to have to potentially sling the rock. Maybe they're down 10, and they come back in this one to win it. But I'm going Chargers with the points on the over. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup because you got this Chargers defense, which is through the season been pretty easy to pass against. They're giving up the most yards per attempt. They're giving up the second most passing yards. They're getting a couple sacks here and there. They're getting a good amount of sacks. They got 31 on the season, which is tied for top 3. But at the end of the day, they're still allowing teams to pass on them. And then you got, Jordan Love on the other side, who's, as of right now, the least accurate quarterback. He's not throwing the ball downfield where they're weak, where Chargers are weak against. So I want to say that the Green Bay Packers can beat him here, but it's hard for me to picture just based off of just that scenario right there. Is Jordan Love's strength isn't going to help them win this game versus a Chargers defense where their weak is down the field. And especially if it's wet and rainy, it'll be even harder for Jordan Love to be completing passes. So I'm going to go the Chargers here just because of that. If it was slightly different and I couldn't trust that the Chargers were going to move the ball well, then I could see the Green Bay taking this one. But I feel like the Chargers are going to move the ball. They're going to score points. They've been held to less than 20, I think, 1 or 2 times this season. So they're going to score points. I just don't know if I can trust the Green Bay Packers to keep up.
It's tough because Justin Herbert, even in the dome, has been missing passes, even indoors on the turf. I look at this game and we talk about home field advantage all the time, and you bringing up the possible field conditions at kickoff. Can't help but to think, all my days playing football, playing basketball was always so much, we did get our little cold spurts down here, which, by northern standards is timid, but it's cold to Florida kids getting into the 60s, stuff like that. And then you add some moisture to the situation. Like it's not the same game you're playing because you're used to playing it fast. You're playing, where the weather is not a factor. These type of games come, November, December, and especially in January. That's why it's a big deal is to be playing at home that are playing, up north, because these conditions kind of equal the playing field a lot of times for games.
Yeah, very true. Anything else to add here for Chargers Packers? Any fantasy standouts?
I don't love
this one's tough to call, I think.
In particular, yeah. I mean, maybe the Green Bay running backs could get going. I could see Jones and Dillon running the ball good the past couple of weeks. I could see one of those two popping off for a little bit of something. But yeah, this is a sketchy one.
All right. Next game, though, you got NFC East matchup. New York Giants 2-8 going to the Washington Commanders 4-6. Washington's an 8.5-point favorite here. You look at Week 10, their previous matchup. New York Giants had a rough go against Dallas. They lost that one 17-49. Washington kind of fell apart there in the final minute versus Seattle, and they couldn't finish it, so they lost 26-29. And you look at 4 weeks ago when these two teams faced each other, it was a scrappy game, and the Giants won that one 14-7. Is it a similar recipe here, or does Washington run away with it this time at home? What do you think?
I think this is another ugly one. I like the under. Um, Quietly though, Sam Howell leading the league in passing yards. So hats off to him,
Very
considering all
true.
the sacks he's played this season. He's another one that's a lot of toughness out of this young quarterbacking crop, and can push the ball downfield and make plays. Make plays improvising on the run. He's been very good outside the pocket, which is impressive. I like the Commanders here. I think it's like a 17-9 game. I think there's a possibility they end up covering it, but I don't love it. This is another game where I would feel more comfortable just playing the under, and yeah, Commanders end up taking this one. The Giants are in a world of hurt, and especially at the quarterback position. The DeVito kid, good story, but it's a tough environment when your team's not even really solid. Or it's one thing if you're Zach Wilson taking over the Jets and you got a lights out defense and a couple of weapons on. Like the Giants team is beat up through injuries. They're beat up, just mentally throughout this season. But it's a divisional game. Can something happen? Yes, that's why I probably don't like dropping 1.5-ish points in this one. But I'll go Commanders. How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough here to pick the Giants to win any game for the rest of the season when you played an absolute dumpster fire of a Raiders team and you threw the ball 20 times, completed 15, and for 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And that's against a dumpster fire of a team. And then the gentlemen on the show were just talking about how they played Dallas, and Dallas is a formidable opponent. They're a playoff contender, potentially Super Bowl. Absolutely stud of a team. Barkley, 13 carries, 66 yards. DeVito, 27 passes, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The Giants are averaging 11 points a game. I can't. I mean, how could you? Why would you? No matter how much you liked something, I couldn't be that fucking oblivious. They do play each other well, but they play each other well when the offense is working and scoring points. Then it's a different game. But when the defense is out there all game, which I suspect in this game, this is how it's going to be, because we're going to get to see a lot of 3 and outs. Because what are they going to do, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to flood the box. Okay, they're going to put everybody up on the line of scrimmage. Why? Because you want to stop Saquon Barkley. And all you got is Barkley at this point. So all your eggs are going to go to the defensive line to stop Barkley. And then, it's DeVito to just do what he can with what he's got, which isn't much at this point, considering Waller's on IR and Waller's not going to be playing in this game. I just don't know where the offense is going to come from when it comes to having to throw the ball down the field. It's tough, I think right now you just play for draft picks and you try and play for the number 1 spot. I mean, I think there's not even a matter of let's try and see what we have on the roster, because I think at this point,
you're seeing it.
You know what you got on the roster. So, I mean, yeah, I'm taking the Commanders here, not because I want to, but because I have to. I take the under here, and I don't even mind taking the Commanders, taking the points, because I don't know where it's going to come from. I mean, they're arguing amongst themselves. I mean, you're hearing rumblings of coaching staff arguing with one another. So I don't know what's going to happen in this game, ladies and gentlemen. You flip a coin. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, the Giants could very well come out and be contenders in this game, but I highly, highly doubt it in this game. I highly doubt it. Commanders points on the under. Brady, I'll allow you.
Fair. I talked about their last matchup when I started, and me and Charlie both picked the Giants. I thought you guys matched up very well versus them. And the Giants won that game. But this go around, it's tougher. I think you guys are kind of sliding down, and the Commanders are kind of sliding uphill. But again, it'll be nitty gritty. You guys are, divisional. We say, my fifth time saying this in this show now, but divisional matchups, tough to call. But Commanders are kind of moving the ball well, and the Giants are unfortunately falling apart. So I like the Washington Commanders here. I probably do like the points as well, just because at any given point, Howell's going to throw it up big for, Terry McLaurin or DeMar Dotson or one of these other guys. Like, he's got receivers, and unfortunately, Giants are struggling right now. So I like the Commanders.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's hard to go against them. But the Commanders' defense hasn't been fantastic this whole year, and then obviously
It
they
hasn't.
traded away two of their
And
bookends. I mean, if the Giants can get after Sam Howell, which he's been, the teams have been able to do that. You never know. You can get a strip sack. You can get some kind of turnovers. You can set your offense up in a good situation, and you can manage to keep the game close. But yeah, it's a tough one to stretch it out, barring something pretty serious happening a couple of times. Game for the Giants to pull this one out.
yeah, you definitely need a Saquon Barkley taking advantage of their new defensive line and just abusing it for them to have a chance in this game, I think.
For sure.
But let's move on to our 4 o'clock games. That was all the 1 o'clockers. Jumping over now, later games of Sunday. You got first game up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-5, going into San Francisco 49ers, who are 6-3. San Francisco's a big 11.5 point favorite here. Last week, both teams had nice big victories to get off their losing streaks that they definitely wanted to get off of. Tampa Bay broke their 4-game losing streak with a win over Tennessee, 20-6. San Francisco broke their 3-game losing streak versus Jacksonville to win that one, 34-3. Who goes back on the losing side? Who continues with winning? Who do you think here, Tampa Bay or San Francisco?
I like San Francisco to win the game. I like the under a lot in this one. I think both defenses cause the opposite offenses some problems, but I think the Niners have, more talent on that side of the ball. The point spread, it's right in the neighborhood of what I would expect it to be. Um, I kind of see the Bucks ending in the teens and the Niners ending in the low 20s. So I don't feel good about dropping the points. But I definitely like Niners. I definitely like the under. And yes, this is tough ass for the Bucks, this situation. East Coast to West Coast to East Coast teams. It's a tough travel to go into the opponent's home and take a victory unless you are clearly the better squad. You're talking about 3 hours worth of difference. It's tough. So I'll stay at home with the Niners. How about you?
Yeah, I like the Niners here too, but I don't like the points, But, then again, this Tampa Bay team's pretty chipped up. You got the hamstring for Evans. You got the foot for White. Is he going to play? He's an important piece to that defense. I think his athleticism flying around out there is going to be absolutely critical to try and stop in the San Francisco 49ers and everything they're going to try and do offensively with Christian McCaffrey and the boys over there and Brock Purdy. But I gotta go San Francisco 49ers, but I don't like the points on this one. I don't like it. I think that Baker could show up and show out and go back and forth, but for how long? I think that the 49ers eventually end up shutting this down because of how one-dimensional the Bucs are. I'm fearful that they can't run the ball, and that's a problem. Even though 49ers stopping the pass has been an issue for quite some time now. How about you, Braid?
Yeah, I like San Francisco as well here. And as much of a tough matchup as this is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think they can give it, a strong showing and a strong shot here, but San Francisco is just a more well-rounded, stronger team. But you saw last week when Tampa Bay Buccaneers get after the pass, getting after the passer, it's hard to move the ball against them. And you saw with the 49ers, when you start doing that, Brock Purdy kind of falls apart a little bit. But it did take a little bit of an injury to, I can't think of the wide receiver right now.
Mike Evans?
No,
Debo.
the San Francisco 49ers. Debo, yeah. Debo being injured slowed that team down tremendously. Christian McCaffrey finally had a week without a touchdown last week, so unfortunately I see him scoring 3 this week versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers to correct his mistake last week. But it'll be an interesting showing because the Bucs are big up front, so I think it'll be hard for Christian McCaffrey to run the ball, but he'll be able to get outside the D tackles, outside the D ends, and move the ball that way. And San Francisco is really good at moving the ball that way too. They like giving their guys in space and letting their athletic people move the ball. So I like San Francisco 49ers here. The points, I don't know if I can trust it because Tampa Bay moving the ball well can cause issues. So I'll go San Francisco 49ers here just outright. I don't know if I'd touch points.
I like a little prop bet on this one. I think Baker goes over his completion totals. I like both wide receivers for Tampa Bay just because I think they're going to throw the ball quite a bit. It's going to be tough to run against that San Francisco D-line and linebacking core. Could be short passes and stuff like that, but definitely completion-wise, I can see Baker getting into the mid to upper 20s on completions for the game. So I like that prop bet.
Alrighty. So San Francisco across the board. Next game though, New York Jets 4-5, Buffalo Bills 5-5. Buffalo's a 7.5-point favorite here. Big old AFC East matchup because one of them's kind of pushing towards playoff wild card. One might be sliding away, based on how this game plays out. Last week's games, Jets failed to seal the victory versus Las Vegas on Monday night, so they lost that one 12-16. Buffalo, made way too many mistakes early, and so they lost to Denver 22-24. How do you think this one plays out? Do you think it's similar to Week 1, where even despite Aaron Rodgers going down, the Jets win this one, or does Buffalo bounce back and play the way they should?
Who knew that Week 1, when we seen the Bills just not take advantage of opportunities, that was going to be the calling card for their entire season up to this point? It's hard to trust the Bills here, man. It's very hard to trust the Bills. And quietly, I've been a supporter of the Jets here of recent, just because I felt like I've seen some growth, from Zach on the other side, and very much enjoy watching their defense play ball. But I think the Bills do the proverbial circle the wagons here. I like the Bills. I think they can cover. I don't love it, but I think they can cover. And the total, I'm really lost on. I don't really know what to make of that as far as the total goes. But I'm definitely going to go Buffalo with the dub. And I think I would lean to them covering, just based off of bouncing back, being at home, pride's sake. And judging off of what happened Week 1, I'm sure that taste is still in their mouth, but I can't trust it. But I like the Bills to win the game. How about you, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo here with the points, and I'm going to take the under. This is a fucking game the Buffalo Bills have to win. Not that the Jets don't have to win. Okay, but if Buffalo's this team, that the Bills Mafia is going bananas for every Sunday up in Orchard Park, then they need to win this game. Then it's more important to Buffalo than it is to the Jets. Okay? Because the fact that the Jets are third, okay, talking about being able to win this game and move up into second place if they win this game with the tiebreaker and move into second place, okay, after they make a trade for a Hall of Fame quarterback to be stuck back with the quarterback they drafted a handful of seasons ago, okay? I think it's important for Buffalo, okay, to say, all right, look, it was our offensive coordinator. That was the problem. Everything's to bed. Okay, but if you don't win this game, then it's so much more than just an offensive coordinator in my mind. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills here, people, without breaking anything. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take the under. How about you, Brady?
Yeah, I like Buffalo as well. You saw just based on, I mean, neither team had a really pretty performance last week, but the Jets are starting to slow down, especially offensively. Despite how much I like that defense of the Jets, their offense is now it's easy to predict now. Teams are slowing them down. They're not scoring points. Their defense has to do more now. So as long as Buffalo doesn't throw 3 interceptions in the first half again, I can see Buffalo winning this game. So I like Buffalo Bills here. Just keep the turnovers, low.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, you know he's capable of doing so. But yeah, hopefully, like we talked about in the earlier show, hopefully the Bills see that, by running the ball and being a little bit more balanced, and we've said this over and over, you can have some little bit better things happen and, maybe just cut down on the risk at the end of the day.
Feed
'Cause
Cook. Put Cook in.
Josh Allen, crazy talented kid. He doesn't have to go out there and win it himself. It's a team game.
Fair. Or maybe go back to winning it himself. Let the man scramble for 100 yards a game again.
That's what he did week 1, though. That's where we all started like, hey, dude, chill out. Because he's taking shotgun snaps and fumbling it 2 steps into it. And that Jets defense is going to punish you. Those 2 linebackers, and particularly Mosley and Quincy Williams. Oh, my gosh. They are so much fun to watch. And I'm glad I'm not out there running crossing routes.
True.
Hitters.
All right.
Such elite speed.
Yeah.
All right, Buffalo across the board. Next game, final 4:00 game, another divisional matchup. You got the Seattle Seahawks 6-3 going into the Los Angeles Rams, who are 3-6. Seattle's a 1-point favorite here in Los Angeles. You look at last week, week 10. Seattle outlasted Washington to win that one with the last second field goal, 29-26. Los Angeles Rams were on bye, so you look at week 9 where they struggled versus Green Bay pretty bad, 3-20. So I'm sure this bye week was very nice for them to look forward to heal up and look forward to the next week. And then these teams played each other week 1, where LA dominated them 30-13, and everyone was hey, what happened? Seahawks are supposed to be really good, and hey, Rams actually back. And then it kind of went back. Now it's kind of going back the other way, where Seattle's playing good football. The Rams are kind of falling apart, riddled with injuries. But you think Rams can do it again here, or does Seattle take the next victory?
When they get Stafford back, it looks like this week. So with that, yes, to answer your question, the Rams could do it again. This is a hell of a game to try and call, though, one way or the other. And obviously the point spread indicates just that, with it being 1. I feel like Seattle should be favored by 3 or 4 points because roster-wise, they should have the better team. But I think this is going to be another nail-biter. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams 27.
Ooh.
A little bit of an upset, but and I like the over. I think both teams know each other very well. Yep. Get the broom out. Both teams know each other very well. And I like what McVay is able to do from a game planning standpoint to attack his opponent. And I feel like it's kind of fly by the seat of your pants when you're looking at the other sideline. Sometimes it works beautifully for them. But sometimes you're just scratching your head and you can see all the frustration and the, players looking around at what the heck just happened. Still not bought in on. So I'll go Rams in a heartbreaker for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to jump on that Ram train, but I didn't and I couldn't. And the reason being why I didn't and why I couldn't was because of the uncertainty of what I'm going to get out of Matthew Stafford coming back from the injuries. He's healthy now, but is he healthy rust? I mean, what is he? I feel uncomfortable about that coming in. Are they going to try and run the ball a lot, or are they just going to come right out first play of the game and throw the ball? It's going to be an interesting first play of the game after they do the coin toss and get the special teams play out of the way. And the very first series of the Rams. It's going to be very interesting. As this matchup in general historically has been interesting. It's a pretty tight spread with them. It's like 24-25 all time. The Rams are like right there, squeaking right behind them, trying to come in and tie it or go up on them. And then you look historically, like the Seattle hasn't owned the Rams since it was the Legion of Boom, Sean Alexander days. That's when they were owning the Rams. But ever since Sean McVay's been on the Rams, they've been a thorn in Seattle's side throughout. I can't knowingly grab this sweep here. I just don't see it being a sweep. Very rarely do these two teams sweep. And Seattle's just the better team right now. And because I would say sweep if Stafford was healthy and he was looking as good as he was looking before he went down. But I got to take Seattle here with the points, and I also do the under because that Rams defense matchups very well against Seattle. And again, I'm very concerned about DK Metcalf and them knowing how to get in his. It's almost like the matchup between the Bucks and the Saints there, and how they get back and forth the defensive backfield and the offense wide receivers for those two respected teams. But in this matchup here, I think that the Rams do an incredible job of getting underneath DK Metcalf's skin, and it really takes him out of his game, and it takes him out of his ability to be a dominant player when you're so worried about being pissed off. But I'm going to take the Hawks, but I do think, I do smell upset, but I do think Seattle's playing well here, so I'm going to go ahead and give Seattle the nod with the points on the under. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, I like Seattle as well. And as much as I want to like the Los Angeles Rams, they've just, throughout the season, showed way too many holes in their game. And that's why they have 6 losses on their record. So, and I understand they've been riddled with injuries. Your main man Kupp was down for a little bit, and then Stafford went down for a little bit. But you found some shine with Puka Nacua, but again, you're limited in your run game, so he was just about it. And it's similar, at least with what I'm getting with Seattle, is they can balance it. So as long as Geno Smith can avoid big man Aaron Donald and not, scream for his life again, then Seattle should win this one. Find ways to move the ball away from Aaron Donald, and they should have a nice, solid road to victory here, I think.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker plays a huge role for Seattle in this one. Win or lose, I like him over his totals in rushing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add here? Any last minutes before we get to our final game for Sunday?
Nope, not right now.
All right. I mean, and looking at the Sunday night football game, you'd think this, wouldn't be too good of a football game, but both teams are playing a lot better than what they should have been. Minnesota Vikings, they lose their quarterback, they lose their star wide receiver, they're still winning football games. Denver Broncos, you're like, hey, what's happening? Russ is still bad. New coach Sean Payton's not it. Out of nowhere, you're like, Denver Broncos, like, we'll beat the best of them. We don't care. Give it to us. So you got this Minnesota Vikings 6-4 going to the Denver Broncos, who are 4-5. Denver is the 2.5-point favorite here. Last week, Minnesota took a big lead early versus New Orleans, and they rode that to victory, 27-19. Denver got an upset win over Buffalo. We just touched about with 24-22. Minnesota's game against New Orleans helped with 2 late interceptions by Jameis Winston there. And Denver, 2 weeks in a row, we touched on it, 2 weeks in a row now, big upset wins over top tier players. They beat KC the week prior, 24-9. So How do you think this one plays out? You think Broncos continue it, or Vikings with Dobbs can take the victory?
I feel like the Broncos at home, they dial up the recipe that they did last week against Buffalo, which is running the ball, playing good defense, and Russ not turning the ball over. It was frustrating to watch. Like, it wasn't fun to watch, especially as a Jerry Jeudy owner, watching that passing. They had the play action time, but he just wasn't letting it go anywhere past 10 yards that whole game, besides that Hail Mary threw up to Cortland Sutton in the corner of the end zone, which was an absolutely phenomenal toe drag catch by him. But yeah, it was a lot of dink and dunks, but he's playing smart ball. Playing smart ball. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and they're running the ball. So, I mean, they're playing in their lane. They're staying in their lane. And I think as long as they play that style of football, they can beat Minnesota at home. If this game was, the Vikings at home, I might give a little bit more credence to what Joshua Dobbs has been able to do, and just having the home familiarity. I could see a little bit more of that magic carrying over. Played phenomenal ball for, what seems like 4 or 5 teams this year. But I gotta stay with the Broncos. They continue to win here. I don't mind dropping 2 points with this one. I think Minnesota close. I like what O'Connell is able to do with that offense, still down to their, second string, third string, whatever you call them, journeyman quarterback. But I think the Broncos are better ball size of the ball at this point in time. So I'm gonna stay Broncos. How about you, Ed?
I'm going to go Minnesota Vikings here. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Magic. I don't need Magic for the rest of the season, even though I do think potentially they could go undefeated for the rest of the season. But, I think we're just I think we're glossing right the hell over this guy. You got to understand, he left the Cardinals to go to Minnesota to not even know one person's name on the field, and the first time he threw a pass to them was in a game, and they win that game. I think to just completely gloss over the fact that they just did that, or he just did that. Now you're going to give him a week with these people that now he knows their name against a New Orleans defense that's pretty good. Okay? Scored 27 points and legitimately didn't know the people's name in the starting lineup that was his own teammates. I mean, the first time he's meeting people is on game day. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking the Magic. I don't need 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. I need one more game of magic. He'll be prepared, so now it won't be as much magic as it is preparation. This kid is just built different to be able to have the knowledge that he's gained from all the coaching staffs, all the people, everything that he's been able to accumulate. You see it in the game. He's playing well. And I'm not going to discredit that. And I'm going to say that instead of Denver carrying it on, I'm going to say Josh Dobbs is going to continue his incredible season on that he's been doing for not only the Arizona Cardinals in one season, but also for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he was playing well for them. The team wasn't playing well, but he was playing incredible for the Cardinals. And this roster's a lot better. He has a lot better of a defense. I'm going Minnesota Vikings here, taking the points, and I'll go under.
1 under. Yeah, this one's definitely on the toss-up side for me. I think it's going to be a very good game. But like the weakest side for Denver right now is their run game. They've given up the most amount of yards rushing in the league. And there's not really a run game for Minnesota. They even traded for Cam Akers to try to add some depth and some new blood in the mix, but it's very absent. And so I could definitely see the under being here for the total score because neither team is playing well to the opposing team's strengths or playing well to the opposing team's weaknesses. But I think I'm going to go Denver Broncos here. I do like Sean Payton over O'Connell. So in the coaching matchup. And you got to go quarterback matchup too. Russell Wilson is playing very well of recent, despite what Josh Dobbs is putting up. He's still kind of. I feel like he's still winging it. Where I think you're getting reliability out of Russell finally. So I like Denver Broncos here.
Denver's also creating a lot of turnovers. I think it's back-to-back games with 4+ turnovers. Four. You take the ball away from a team that many times in a game, as ugly as their offense kind of looked against Buffalo, and even the win against KC too. You turn the ball over, you're taking the ball away that much. You're putting your team at a very, very high advantage to win the game. So the defense keeps on playing like they've been playing. That's a big push for me taking Denver as well.
Fair enough. All right. Anything else to add, gentlemen? Any final tips, tricks before we finish it off with Monday Night Football?
Keep on sending us in your videos, and thank you for the support. We'll have all this posted out there. Give us shouts, and keep on telling us what your opinions are as well. We love hearing from y'all.
Yes, sir.
And yeah,
Shout
it's
out
week
Sam.
11. Yeah, Sam crushing it. Glad to have him on the show. Without a doubt.
Thanks for
Thank
tuning
y'all,
in.
boys. Deuces.